Joe Biden has selected a former rival, California Senator Kamala Harris, to be his running mate in the race for the White House. Natalie Brandt reports from Washington.
After weeks vetting more than a dozen vice presidential contenders, Joe Biden revealed Kamala Harris will share the presidential ticket. After the announcement, Harris tweeted, "I'm honored to join him as our party's nominee for vice president and do what it takes to make him our commander-in-chief." Biden described Harris as a fearless fighter for the little guy and noted that she had worked with his late son Beau when he was Delaware's attorney general. The 55-year-old first-term California senator previously served as state attorney general and before that, the San Francisco district attorney.
While Harris's record as a former prosecutor and California attorney general has been scrutinized, as a senator, she's become a vocal proponent of sweeping police reform.
Harris also brings her base of supporters from her own 2020 presidential bid. She was briefly among the frontrunners and memorably went after Biden during an early debate.
You also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
President Trump took aim at Harris's primary performance and accused her of being part of the, quote, radical left.
She did very, very poorly in the primaries, as you know. She was expected to do well, and she ended up at right around 2%.
Senator Harris is only the third woman and first woman of color to be on a major party's presidential ticket. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
Biden and Harris are scheduled to make their first appearance as running mates tomorrow afternoon in Delaware. Some Arkansas lawmakers weighing in tonight. U.S. Senator Tom Cotton released a statement saying in part, quote, Kamala Harris supports Medicare for all. She implied Joe Biden is racist, and she laughed at the idea that the Constitution would stop her from confiscating guns. Her presidential campaign was a mismanaged catastrophe that ended before any votes were cast.